Get ready to crane your neck all the way to the heavens as we explore the mythical Tower of Babel on today's episode of Mythology's Monsters. This video will follow the ambitions and sudden demise of the legendary tower built to reach the realm of God itself. We'll explore the various proposed appearances this colossal structure may have taken based on different historical interpretations. See how architectural plans were drawn up under the master builder Nimrod to organize construction efforts. Find out how thousands of workers sweated and strained for years erecting this massive tower that stood over a mile high, only for God himself to suddenly intervene by making people unable to communicate with each other. Finally, we'll detail the tower's abandonment and gradual structural collapse from entropy and storms, how its remains can still be seen today in the historical mounds located near the traditional site east of Babylon. So brace yourself for this epic tale of aspiration and adversity as we scale the mythic heights of the infamous Tower of Babel. Now let's get straight into it. As mentioned in the book of Genesis, the Tower of Babel myth begins sometime after Noah's flood had receded and humanity began migrating eastwards. Settling as unified clans on the plains of Shinar in Mesopotamia, the people there shared a universal language passed down from the survivors of the deluge. Speaking the same tongue allowed effective organization between tribes and families. This coordination of efforts across generations slowly cultivated arts like brickmaking, toolmaking, and engineering, skills and knowledge progressing forward together in lockstep for the first time. Eventually, this technical proficiency evolved to where large-scale civic projects could be reliably undertaken. Still basking in the glow of a single shared language facilitating progress, the people conceived a plan for an immense construction visible from distant lands in every direction. They hoped this would stand the test of time itself while glorifying their capabilities to all. And so the ambitious blueprint was drawn up for the Tower of Babel under the renowned master builder Nimrod. Though its exact specifications have been lost, many versions describe the planned height to be over 5,400 cubits and 2 palms. This equates to an estimated 2,500 meters or 8,150 feet tall. For reference, this would make the Tower of Babel about 3 times taller than today's Burj Khalifa skyscraper. Once finished, it would have dominated the entire flat landscape for dozens of miles around. Envisioning such an unprecedented structure boggled most minds. Reports claim Nimrod consulted mystical texts and pored endlessly over arcane geometry systems while designing the tower's architecture. He mandated incorporating abstruse astrological alignments and esoteric symbols throughout to channel unknown energies from the heavens. The foundation stones were engraved with prayers and blessings to the cloud-gathering gods such as Ishtar. While Nimrod orchestrated the grand vision, muscle and sweat would make it a reality. To complete this mega-project, thousands of workers were conscripted across the United Tribes via regional governors and clan chieftains. Masons were trained in complex brickwork patterns and granite quarrying. Metalsmiths cast immense curved support braces and hammered lengths of copper wiring. Lumberjacks felled towering cedars by the acres for scaffolding, while smithies constantly refurbished tools and equipment. Food collectors transported wagons of grains, vegetables, fruits, and livestock into the growing worksite perimeter. Constant activity churned across the project radius as oxen pulled carts loaded with supplies in and endless processed construction materials out. Makeshift housing and workshops multiplied rapidly around the emerging tower footings. Hammers and chisels clinked nonstop against stone to the rhythmic shouts of team haulers. Derricks creaked as they hoisted finished black basalt or white limestone blocks ever higher. The rains came and went, the sand swept about the foundations, but still the work ascended without pause. Most artistic interpretations depict the Tower of Babel as a tapering stepped pyramid structure, the most common Mesopotamian architecture style of the era, though some ancient accounts suggest more exotic designs intended during planning phases. A towering onyx spike jutting arrogantly towards heaven, its smooth black surfaces decorated with unsettling astrological symbols and grimacing horned gargoyles leering down upon scurrying workers below. Gilded bands spiraling up the structure's height as geomantic channeling devices. arcane inscriptions etched over every surface in tireless efforts to elevate the entire mass. Other texts reference a shimmering crimson tower threaded with silver ascending nearly straight up before blossoming into an intricate lattice-like peak. This version spun during specific seasonal alignments to focus cosmic energies down into elaborate banded collecting pools. Kimric guardians then filled flasks from these ephemeral sources, driving the site's secret magic. But no one now knows what design finally emerged before the legendary intervention shattered its creation. Regardless, the epic scale and soaring height meant that when lit up at night or glimpsed unexpectedly from afar, the Tower of Babel dominated the entire flat Mesopotamian plain for miles, like some mythical mountain range erupting suddenly from the earth itself. Now as this immense megalith took shape year after year, God looked upon its construction with concern. Though pleased humanity had progressed enough to coordinate such an immense project, he worried unrestrained ambitions to bridge the realms risked upsetting an order older than mankind itself. The builders were trying to elevate themselves to the heavens by their own strength without wisdom earned from necessary trials to temper such vaulting dreams first. Attempting to finish the tower also distracted tribes from replenishing vital skills, trades, and arts diffused broadly enough for society's overall health. Therefore, as the tower neared completion after over a decade of backbreaking toil, God chose to intervene dramatically. In an instant, the common Adamic language allowing unified communication was confused into dissociated variants across scattered groups. Instructions were reduced to bewildering gibberish from one artisan to the next. Construction plans made indecipherable overnight. Shouted warnings between teams now only drew confused looks. Chaos erupted across the entire project in a matter of hours. Build crews flailed wildly, struggling to make sense amidst the increasing din and accidents. Ox carts overloaded with heavy materials crashed and caused injuries for lack of understood direction. Scaffolding sections began failing randomly without proper reinforced maintenance. Messengers relayed distorted messages back and forth between Nimrod's compound and the different tower work zones. Fights soon broke out between tribal gangs, blaming each other for perceived sabotage or broken promises. Materials and tools were stolen without explanation to hoard desperately. Entire specialized teams abandoned positions over growing safety fears and daily confusion. Nimrod himself scrambled to hold everything together. But with dialects increasingly garbled past intelligence, the faster he tried issuing unified commands, his erstwhile domains slipped through the cracks beyond recovery. In a short period of months, the ambitious tower soaring to bridge earth and heaven was brought low by the fundamental loss of common speech and identity holding everyone's contributions together. The project footprint became a deserted wasteland, scattering crews far and wide in isolated language groups no longer able to rebuild past barriers productively any longer. Eventually, unmaintained bits and pieces disintegrated through entropy and seasonal sandstorms over time. Desert dwellers gathered remaining bricks and salvaged metals for piecemeal shelters erected far from the accumulating ruins. Shepherds grazed flocks warily under the crumbling tower's elongated shadow, slowly diminishing year after year. All vestiges remaining today of the legendary Tower of Babel are artificial mounds located in former Babylonia east of the Euphrates River. Even these low hills are fast eroding with the ages. But the compelling story of the tower scaling untold heights only to tumble from grace remains immortalized as warning and inspiration across mankind's collective memory. So ends this condensed epic exploring the aspirations, methods, and demise behind construction of the mythical Tower of Babel. Civilizations may climb confidently skyward, but sometimes still overextend, doomed to fall when lacking wisdom's balance. Yet human imagination builds anew from lessons passed down the ages. What wings shall we craft next with care when again grabbing for the stars? Feel free to share your thoughts on this classic legend below. Check out one of the videos on screen. And don't forget to like and subscribe.